I just admitted her, and so yeah, I have it.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Kansas City, Kansas Public Library. Uh, on our series of energy healing, this is our second session. Our first session was on Reiki. So, our presenter again is Nadia Mitchell, and she is zooming in from Long Island, New York. And she also has one more series coming on chakras, and it was rescheduled for February 4th. And also, if you wanted to watch the previous one on Reiki, since she is a Reiki master and it's her own, is her main profession, it's available through our online programs through our website. So you are welcome to view it over there. So now, welcome Nadia, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Magda. And thank you so much to the Kansas City Library for having me back again. Really happy to be able to connect with you all the way from New York. Um, it's pretty cool, isn't it? So thank you for your interest in crystals. I would love for this to be as engaging as possible. I love communication. I love talking. I love learning about you as well. It's just simply a presentation for me. So please engage. Feel free to interject and ask questions. You don't have to wait till the end. Okay. Neffy, just wanted to say welcome. Thank you for joining. Um, so, as Magda said, my name is Nadia Mitchell, and I'm a certified Reiki master teacher. I'm also a certified meditation and mindfulness instructor and spiritual life coach, along a few other titles, which also includes a crystal Reiki practitioner as well. So, I do quite a few things. I've been in this field since 2016 officially. I've always been a recipient of Reiki energy, and I've always loved crystals, but I never really thought that it would be a profession or anything that I should look into turning into a profession. My background is really more along the lines of social work and advocacy. So, we have another person. So, in 2016, I decided to take my first Reiki class, and from there, everything just kind of began. My journey began, and it happened so organically. That's kind of how I knew it was meant to be. So here I am. Hi, Nichelle. Thanks for joining us. Here I am years later. I decided to take the leap and I started my own practice. And I am able to help people in person as well as remote. So it's been very interesting. Is there anyone familiar with Reiki already? Yay, Crystal. Yeah, just a smidgen, a smidgen. Okay.
I have my up to Reiki 3. So I want to do the master class to give attunements and to teach.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Jennifer? Okay. Okay. Feel free to unmute yourselves, guys. It's okay. I don't mind. And if you have a little background noise, it's fine too. Um, any questions about Reiki that come to mind? I know we're here for crystals, but just curious. Because a lot of times you'll assume people know and they have no idea what it is, and you're talking about it, and they're like, "Well, I still don't know what that is."
I really, yeah, if you could just like a quick explanation of maybe what it is.
Sure. And please excuse the occasional cough every now and then. So, Reiki is an ancient Japanese healing technique used for stress reduction, chronic pain, and relaxation. It's pretty much energy work. It's working along with your body's 7 energy centers, also known as the 7 chakras. And Crystal, feel free to, you know, chime in and share as well too. But it works along with the body's energy centers, and any issues that you may be having. It shows up in different ways and in different ways. So Reiki energy is able to go wherever it's needed. A lot of the times you may think it's for one thing. You may be having, tension in the neck area, and the practitioner may be working on you and may find themselves lingering in another area. So the energy is going to go wherever it needs to go. But of course, if there's a specific area that you'd like to focus on, the practitioner can do so. And it's non-invasive. You're fully clothed. You usually lay on a massage table, and in some cases, could be seated in a chair or even on the ground, on a blanket with some pillows as bolsters. And the practitioner places their hands usually above you or directly on you, just light touches starting at the top of your head, working their way down to your feet. Then you turn over, usually, if it's like an hour-long session, even 30 minutes. And then they start again at the top of your head and work their way to your feet. And I especially like to linger in the feet area because that's where, grounding and feeling centered and feeling connected usually helps the individual. So It's pretty interesting. Each position is meaningful, and of course, sometimes you'll kind of go off course and go where you feel you need to, but you're able to pick up on things as a practitioner, sometimes even more than the person is sharing with you. You know, and as you go further and further into Reiki, you become a little more intuitive. You know, you're able to just sense things and kind of know what you need to do for that person. So that
Oh,
is the summary of what Reiki is.
thank you.
You're welcome. And for those who are uncomfortable with touch, because there are quite a few people that you will occasionally meet um, with that preference, you can always hover, and the energy still works the same. And during a session, a person may feel they're going to feel some type of sensation, but it's typically warmth or coolness. And sometimes, in some cases, it's both. I have had one client that told me one hand was hot, one hand was cold. But very rare. But each individual has their own unique experience, and each session is going to be unique too. So, you may have had an experience where you felt like your head was floating in the clouds, or you felt like you were just comforted, and you may go back to another session expecting that same experience, and it may be completely different. So Reiki is awesome like that. Yeah. Does anyone own any crystals here? Anyone have a collection of their own? Yeah. Oh, okay, Magda. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I do.
Yeah.
I
Which
have
one's your
some
favorite
on my
crystal?
desk here too.
Nice.
It's covered in papers now. Where's the camera? I have this,
Wow, I love that.
I
this.
Oh, my Lord.
I,
Beautiful and great. I love the size, right? Huge.
I
Oops.
got the one that's
This.
nice.
Nice. Very nice, Magda.
It's tiger eye, I think. But this is nothing.
I'm impressed.
I'm into purples, so this one, I think this is a bloodstone.
There you are, Sarah. Hi.
And then
Yes, I have that next to me as well. Carnelian, looks like.
carnelian, yep.
Okay. Beautiful. I love that. Oh, yeah. Oh, where's mine? I got to whip mine
Oh,
out now,
that's a
Sarah.
beautiful one.
Yeah, I have to have my wand as well. Well, yeah, I'm big on that. Selenite is like my go-to crystal, and we'll definitely go into that a little bit more too. Thank you, Sarah. You were saying, Sarah, that you grew up with crystals? Oh, I'm sorry. You're muted, just so you know, my dear. Yeah. Okay. Feel free to unmute when you're able, if you wish. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I said I got a wand.
Oh, okay. I love my selenite wand. So I'll definitely ask you some questions about that a little later. I'm hoping that you've gotten a chance to get acquainted with it and feel the
So,
vibration.
no clue anything about it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we'll take care of that today. We'll take care of that. Kathy, how about you? Any crystals? No, not yet. I have a feeling that will change after this presentation.
So hope so.
Awesome. Awesome. I love your background, by the way. Very peaceful. Jennifer, any in your collection? No? I'm surprised. Huh. Because every now and then you'll come across a person that received a crystal or has had one in their possession. They just didn't know what it was, A lot of the times when I do these classes, like people will bring crystals to me, like, what is this? Like I've had these for years. I just don't know what it is. So very interesting. And for Neffy and Michelle, feel free to unmute and say hello or ask any questions you may have. But again, it's going to be interactive. So you can remain off mute. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, get started with the presentation. Alrighty, can everyone give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen okay? Awesome, thank you very much. Oh, alrighty, so first slide, just welcome once again. Go to the next slide. What are crystals? We have another person joining. I wanted to include both definitions. So I included a general definition. They are pretty sparkly stones that would look great in my living space. And then the scientific definition. The crystal is a mineral with a regularly repeating molecular structure. Most crystals form inside the earth. Each crystal has its own unique vibrational frequency, just as each person has their own energy vibration. That's the technical definition. Let's see. Thank you to thank you for joining. Whoever just joined us, I'm unable to see your name, but thank you for joining us. We're just starting the presentation. Feel free to unmute and ask any questions you may have along the way. Here we go. Next slide. How are crystals formed? Just wanted to include this for technical purposes. Crystals often form in nature when liquid cools and starts to harden. The liquid gathers together in a uniform and repeating pattern that forms the crystal as they attempt to become stable. What is crystal healing? You know, a lot of people know that crystals exist and they even have crystals, but they don't know that there are ways that it can be utilized other than just having it for decorative purposes. So crystal healing is the healing and balancing of one's body, mind, and energy through healing powers of crystals. So I'm going to go into a few different ways that you can utilize crystals to your advantage, and what the benefits are. And I'll also introduce a few of you to maybe some new crystals that you've never even heard of before. You know, as a practitioner, I have my favorites. As you know, selenite is one of them. But there are several crystals that a lot of people just simply don't know about, and they can really be helpful to you in your daily routine and daily lives. Ways that crystals can be used. Crystals can be used for healing. You know, healing stones balance and align the chakras and the aura. They also facilitate energetic shifts. Crystals can be used during meditation. A lot of people don't realize that while you're meditating, you can simply hold a crystal in your hand and it can help you to connect with your energy, help to you to connect with your higher self. Hematite is a great crystal to meditate with. Just wanted to note that.
I have a question.
Sure. Hi, Crystal.
Like when meditating with crystals, do you have to clear them and charge them? Because I don't necessarily know what it means to clear and charge
Okay.
them.
And I'm definitely going to go into that a little later.
Okay, that's
yeah,
fine.
it is recommended depending on which crystal. If it's specifically while you're meditating, then there are a few crystals that I will suggest, and those will need cleansing. And I'll definitely break that down for you. Not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So crystals can also be used for cleansing. You know, it can be used to remove negative energy in the body as well as in the environment. So the same way that Magda has those crystals in front of her computer, like for example, shungite or even black tourmaline would be a great crystal to have in between you and your computer screen, to keep the EMF away from you. So it can be used for the environment as well. Crystals are pretty cool too. And I wanted to note that crystals are not magical solutions, but they should be used as tools to assist you as you go deeper within yourself to accomplish your personal goals. In a sense, crystals can assist with manifesting whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. It's like an aid. It's your partner in helping you get where you're trying to go. And it's all about the intention as well. Holistic healing with crystals. Crystals work on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels of being. They realign subtle energies and dissolve dis-ease, getting to the root cause. A lot of the times when you have pain, just like in Reiki as well, you have dis-ease, discomfort, people kind of just take it as is, but there's usually a reason behind it, so it's important to get to that root cause and resolve and dissolve that issue so that you don't have to deal with it again. Clear quartz. Anyone familiar with clear quartz? It's very popular. I'm sure you've seen it all around. But not a lot of people know the benefits or even know that it can help magnify the power of other crystals as well. So this crystal is considered to be the master healer. It brings clarity and can be programmed for any purpose. And people don't realize that, a lot of the times. And I mean, yes, I'm giving you a breakdown of crystals, but please know that even the crystals that you may have in your possession already, they are capable of doing what it is you need it to do. You don't necessarily have to run out to your local crystal shop after this class. You know what I mean? You can program crystals, and, that's getting a little more technical and making it more complicated, which is why I didn't include it in this presentation. But I wanted to let you know that you can program crystals. So clear quartz is one of those. It can be programmed for any purpose. It helps with cleansing, purification, amplifying energy, clarifying thoughts, balancing body, mind, spirit, improving concentration, and it works well with all crystals. Any questions on clear quartz? Okay. All righty. Jennifer, any questions?
No.
Okay, just curious, making sure. All righty. Amethyst. Anyone familiar with amethyst? Yeah, it's a popular one, right? This is one that you see all the time, and it's a birthstone. Oh, okay. I'm gonna let Dennis in. But a lot of people don't know that amethyst purifies negative energies. It's not just a pretty stone. It can really help with protection and developing your natural psychic abilities. Let me see something. Dennis is connecting to audio. So, in addition to enhancing and developing natural psychic abilities, amethyst can help with intuition. It can help with insomnia. A lot of people don't realize that as well. Insight, manifestation, stress, anxiety. It's helpful with people that are experiencing nightmares, as well as people that are dealing with addiction. And it can be an addiction um, such as just overeating. I actually recommended this crystal to one of my clients who just told me that she was having a problem with excessive eating. So a lot of people don't realize that amethyst can really help you on a deeper level. Hi, Dennis. Thanks for joining. Feel free to ask any questions you have along the way.
So this crystal right here, I could definitely mark off a lot of things that it helps with that I need help with.
Yeah, it's a go-to. It's a really, really helpful crystal. And even though I don't have it listed here, it's great for immune support as well. When you're fighting off a cold or a virus or the flu, amethyst is one of those go-to crystals as well. And it works
So,
well with clear quartz. Go ahead, Crystal.
so just having it around, is that how it works, or?
It depends on what it is what your intention is. Like what, you know what I mean? If it's personal, I would say wear it on your body. If it's environmental, then definitely you can have it in the environment.
Does it matter like the clarity of it and the size of it?
Yes. And I'm going to go into, geodes and different sizes a little later, but yeah, it would amplify the energy even more, that much more, but once you start to go to bigger pieces, it tends to get very expensive, which is why tumbled stones and hand stones or worried stones seem to be most popular because it's affordable. But it really depends on what it is that your goal is, and you can definitely tell me more if you choose or if you're comfortable, if you have a specific goal in mind, and then I can tell you, what would work best for you. Alrighty, rose quartz. Who's familiar with rose quartz? This is another popular stone. Yeah, a lot of jewelry is made out of this. I have earrings myself that are made out of rose quartz. Rose quartz is the stone of universal love. This crystal opens the heart chakra. It restores trust and harmony in relationships. It provides comfort in times of grief. It dispels negativity and protects against environmental pollution. It helps with kindness, compassion, emotional healing, emotional pain, and self love. Um, Self love is a big one for this. Excuse me. But it's twofold, as you see, because in addition to it helping you increase your self esteem or just knowing your worth, knowing your value, it also helps you to be kinder to others as well. Not only have compassion for yourself, but compassion for others too. So it's a pretty special crystal. And if you're dealing with different emotions, maybe getting over a hurt, trauma in the process of healing, or maybe need to make a decision and you're not certain of which direction to go. Rose quartz can definitely be a great aid during that time. And in this case, definitely wear it on your body. Just put it, you know, in a pocket or just hold it in your hand. Any questions about rose quartz? Oh, okay. Nice. I see you, Crystal. Hematite. Hematite. You have two ways of pronouncing it. It's up to you. This is a great stone to use when you're stressed out. This is another great stone crystal for meditation. A lot of people speak about that. They just see it, and a lot of people know that it's used for jewelry, which is why I put that necklace on the right side. Because growing up, I'm sure, or growing up, I'm sure a lot of you may have seen that necklace and just didn't even know that it was an actual crystal. You know, it looks more decorative than anything, but it's a great stone when you're stressed out. And it also helps with absorbing any negativity in the environment, in the area. It helps to balance energies. It helps with detoxing, which is a big one, stress reduction, anxiety, and grounding. And it's a healing stone for physical ailments as well. This stone is considered an essential stone to work with when you're on a spiritual journey. So it's not just a pretty stone or a stone that's used for jewelry. It's much deeper than that. And again, during meditation, if you hold that stone in your hand, you'll feel a big difference. And please know that each stone resonates differently with each person. You know, um, there are some people that have their go-to stones, their go-to crystals, and it's not until they try another one that they pick up on the energy and they feel a connection to that, you know. But there are some people that aren't willing to even look into another stone because they have their regular one. So just please know that it's going to resonate differently with each person. Even though I'm saying, you know, hematite is great for meditation, you may hold it in your hand when you have an opportunity, and it may not speak to you, so to speak. It may not feel any different to you, and that's fine. You know, that's just not, you know, the stone that's ideal for you. You want to get a stone that's energetically equal to you, that you feel a change, you feel a connection to.
Is this the only stone that helps in meditation?
No, not at all. There are quite a few, and I will go into that as well. um, I'll say kyanite, which I also have a slide on. Kyanite is another one that's amazing with I'll show you that one shortly when I have it in person too, if you'd like to see. Black tourmaline. Anyone not familiar with black tourmaline here?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is a great stone. It's one of the most popular stones used in spiritual practice. It actually can help with manifestation of desires, purification, and it also increases vitality. It cleans and clears all negative energy, and it can also cleanse your auric field. It's a great stone for anyone living or working in challenging and uncomfortable places. I recommended this stone recently to a client who was dealing with a toxic environment at work. You know, I just had her place it on her desk and just have it in her area, and she definitely felt comforted. She felt a difference. It's also excellent for those who may be struggling with excessive anger, unwanted thoughts, and anxiety. And it's a radiation blocker, as I mentioned earlier. It's a shield against toxins and electromagnetic smog from electronics. So placing black tourmaline in between yourself and your computer, or even your phone at night on your nightstand, would be great. This particular stone is most effective when worn. Bracelets are a very popular choice. I have a bracelet myself that I use whenever I'm working with clients, just to protect my energy and my aura. But again, if you have an actual crystal and actual stone, you can definitely place it in between your electronic and yourself to serve as a shield. Any questions on black tourmaline, especially since you are seeing it for the first time, some of you? No?
Nope.
Moving along to green Aventurine. It's it's just, this stone is awesome. It's known as a stone of opportunity. It's very pretty to the eyes. It usually is in the polished form, but every now and then you'll see it in the raw. And I actually have a raw stone as well. And I like it personally. So it's really up to you, but it comforts, it harmonizes, it protects the heart. It can attract love later in life. This usually gets people, they're like, oh, really? Okay. It's a premier stone to attract luck. It's big on that one. That luck is a big one for that. Enhances creativity, imagination, independence, prosperity, career success, balance, heart circulation, and it promotes calmness and also can heal congestion. So it's a great stone to work with. This is one of my favorites. This is an artificial stone. It's not a precious stone, but it's just gorgeous. I have about 3 of these, and I actually got it in England, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but I've been working with it ever since. So blue goldstone, as I mentioned, is not a precious stone. It's actually made of artificial glass and copper. But it's just a really popular and beautiful stone, usually used for accessories. It receives a lot of support from people, even though it's an artificial gemstone. It's a stone of confidence and ambition. It encourages motivation and drive. I recommend this when a person may be going on a job interview, maybe starting over, just kind of need that boost, that self-esteem, self-confidence. Maybe they're doing a presentation. This is one of those stones that I would recommend. It's also a good deflector of unwanted energies, and it's used as protection mineral in spiritual work. So just like black tourmaline, this could be used to keep away any negativity as well. Any questions on blue goldstone? It's so pretty. It's such a pretty stone. No? All righty, moving on. Citrine. Anyone not familiar with citrine?
Me.
That's why you're here, right? That's going to change tonight. Well, citrine is a very popular crystal as well. Very pretty too. So it's also known as the light maker, and the citrine crystal has a bright yellow hue, which reflects its equally vibrant energy. Citrine crystals emanate positivity and joy. I mean, even just looking at the crystal, you feel better. Am I wrong? Like, do you feel a difference? Just the color is just awesome. It can definitely help strengthen self-esteem. It stimulates the chakras like the sunlight in spring. It's a premier stone for manifestation, imagination, and personal will. This is the kind of stone that you would work on yourself with. Like, this is a stone that will help you target any goals that you have, personal goals. It also aids you to manifest abundance and prosperity. It is said if you put this crystal in your wallet, it will help bring abundance to you. It can help to relieve fear and anxiety, as well as improve digestion and strengthen physical endurance. And it's a great stone for encouraging new beginnings and new pursuits. So if you're starting a new business venture, even new career, new relationship, this is a great stone to work with. It's very encouraging. I had a client whose son was kind of starting over or starting fresh. I think he was going away to college, and he was just very nervous. And this was one of the stones that I recommended that she get for him. It can definitely help you feel motivated. Or maybe even if you've been unemployed for a while and you want to make changes or be more active, this is one of those stones that can help you. Any questions on citrine? No? Selenite. There's our selenite, Sarah. Selenite, also known as satin spar. It's associated with the crown chakra, which is wisdom and spirituality. It clears negative energy, and it also purifies its environment. It represents spiritual purity, light and connection to the angelic realms. It's a calming stone that instills deep peace. It's excellent for meditation or spiritual work. It's considered a high energy crystal that vibrates at a high frequency. It's a pretty powerful crystal. And it also cleanses and charges other crystals. Excuse me. So I don't know if any of you have done recent searches for crystals, but especially after this presentation, you'll see more and more that there are charging stations or a lot of the times people will use selenite as a charge for other crystals. So there's like selenite plates that are being sold now, and you simply place your other crystals on top of it, and that's it. It does the work for you. You don't have to necessarily go through the cleansing process when you're working with selenite. So selenite's really more than just a pretty crystal. It really helps you connect with higher self. You really do feel a deep sense of a calm just holding it in your hand. Like personally, I have a really deep connection with my selenite. And just so you're aware, it comes in different forms, So this is a palm stone. You can even get selenite in a spare, and then of course in the wand. So it's really your personal preference. Personally, for me, I love working with the wand. And when I'm doing distant Reiki or working virtually, I actually use my crystals as well. And selenite is the main one to help cleanse the aura and the energy of those who are working with me.
Charge the selenite at all?
I'm sorry, Sarah. Can you repeat that?
You need to charge the selenite at all?
No, you actually don't.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And if people, because, naturally people are going to be like, what's that? They don't want to see. 1,000 people can touch your selenite wand and it's fine. It doesn't need to be cleansed. That's one of those crystals that just does not require cleansing. Excuse
Use
me.
it in meditation and it will help.
Yeah, because it helps you to connect with your crown chakra. So
Do
it's
you
definitely,
hold it while you're meditating then?
yes, exactly. Holding it
Oh,
in your hand. Yep. And I find that it's heightened. My calm, my level of calm and connecting with my higher self is definitely heightened when I work with crystals during meditation. So especially with selenite, I think you'll notice a very obvious difference if you've meditated previously. You know, I think you'll notice a huge difference once you start working with selenite in that regard, in that capacity.
I thank you.
You're welcome, Sarah. Any questions about selenite? No? Okay. All right. Next slide. Here we come. Blue kyanite. Um, anyone personally have this crystal in their collection? Just curious. This is one of those crystals that not a lot of people talk about. And it's an amazing crystal. Blue kyanite enhances communication, leadership abilities, it promotes prosperity, it releases anxiety. This crystal brings all the chakras into alignment. It can definitely aid in the development of spiritual and psychic gifts. It does not retain or accumulate negative vibrations of any type, which is pretty awesome. It's one of those crystals you don't have to cleanse. It is said that blue kyanite can help communications with pets by placing the stone over the third eye chakra and send messages to your pet through visualized images if you want to get, uh, you know, complicated. It can also enhance brain function and the entire neurological system. And for some of you may notice that I've mentioned psychic abilities, psychic gifts a few times. There are people that are specifically trying to enhance the skill. So there are specific crystals that you can work with to enhance it, just so you're aware. And just in case you were wondering why, I keep mentioning that. There really are specific crystals that people will work with over and over again with the intention of being able to enhance their abilities and their gifts. Any questions about blue kyanite? No? Alrighty, moving along. Lepidolite. Lepidolite is a stone of transition. If you're going through a change, this is a great stone to work with. It assists with the release of old patterns and it gently induces change. If you're someone that's resistant to change and you don't like, when it's abrupt, this will help you along the way as things are changing around you. And especially if you feel as though you don't have control and you're having issues with that or the lack of control, this will help you to gently induce change and gently accept change as well. It brings deep emotional healing and reduces stress and depression. It encourages self-love, trust, and independence. It relieves exhaustion and tension, which is a big one. It also can help to strengthen the immune system and soothe the nervous system. It can it can relieve allergies and joint pain, and it's known for stabilizing mood swings. It's excellent for menopause as well. So not a lot of people talk about lepidolite, but it's here. I mean, it's just an awesome stone as well to work with personally. And again, it all depends on what your goals are. What it is that your intention is. You find the right crystal for you and work with it. Blue chalcedony. It's soothing, calming, and it's great for promoting a sense of peace and joy. Just looking at this crystal is somewhat soothing, I find. So once you start working with it, you realize very quickly that it helps emotional balance. It eases self-doubt. It's thought to absorb negativity as well and give relief from depression. And it can also provide an immune system boost and lessen the effects of dementia. This is a crystal that I've used with clients that have had eye issues. It's also known to heal the lungs, gallbladder, circulatory, and respiratory systems. Any questions come to mind? No? Okay. Moving along. Snowflake obsidian. Anyone have this crystal in their collection? Excuse me. No? Okay. A lot of people see this crystal, they just don't know what it is. It's another eye-catching crystal. It's a stone of rebirth, shedding away layers of emotional attachment. It brings calmness, tranquility, and grounding. It assists in drawing emotions to the surface. If you're the type of person that doesn't necessarily speak your truth, kind of hold things in, you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, this is a great stone to help you bring those emotions up and help you deal with them. It's also said that emotional releases feel hot at first when working with the stone, and then they eventually cool down like lava. So it really helps you, you know, bring forth what you're submerging if you're ready, to deal with that. If you're ready to fully heal from the inside out, this is a great stone to work with whenever you may be ready. You see, crystals can get pretty deep, so again, that's why I keep saying it's really all about the intention, your personal goal that you have in mind. Then there's that crystal that would be perfect for you and where you are. Carnelian. Magda had carnelian crystal. This crystal is known as the artist stone. It's known also for increasing courage, enhances self-confidence, creativity, and compassion. Excuse me. It encourages initiative and determination. It calms anger and grounds you in reality. It kind of helps you realize that it is what it is, and all you can do is move forward. It keeps you focused and brings motivation and determination to your endeavors. It's helpful with overcoming abuse, as well as staying focused on the present instead of past experiences. It helps you. It's a great stone for working with getting over a grudge, um, as well as any presentations you may have. A lot of artists, or people that perform rely on this stone. So it's a pretty awesome stone. If you have a meeting and you're doing a presentation, you're standing before a large group and you're nervous about it, this is one of those stones that would be very helpful and comforting. Tiger's Eye, another crystal that Magda had. It's a powerful stone. It's said that it helps to release fear and anxiety. And it's also a very pretty stone. So it's very eye-catching. A lot of people have it just because of how it looks. But Tiger's Eye also helps to aid harmony and balance. It stimulates taking action and helps you to make decisions. If you're an indecisive person, working with this particular crystal would be extremely beneficial to you. It invites the wearer to embrace their inner strength and personal willpower, and it also provides emotional healing. So not only is it pretty, but it can also help you deal with any emotional healing that you need to do. Any questions on Tiger's Eye? Smoky quartz. This is another, I feel like this is another overlooked crystal. People see it and they may think it just looks nice, but it's so beneficial on so many different levels. Excuse me. Smoky quartz neutralizes negative vibrations and it's detoxifying. So this is another crystal that you can have in your environment, depending on what's going on, or maybe there's a particular environment that usually tends to be negative. This is one of those crystals, in addition to the black tourmaline, as mentioned before, that you can definitely have present in that environment to help shield yourself from negativity. It promotes grounding. It enhances protection from negative energy. It increases energy during meditation. So Sarah, that's another crystal that you can definitely use while meditating. It encourages environmental concern and ecological consciousness. It relieves stress and anxiety, as well as lifts depression. It promotes peace and calm. It blocks electromagnetic pollution. So another crystal that you can place with your black tourmaline in front of your computer or between you and your phone. It aids in detoxifying the physical body, and it removes fear. So this is a great crystal to work with if you are dealing with anxiety or any particular fear. Crystals that never need cleansing. Selenite. Selenite's, a great crystal, as I mentioned before, but it doesn't require cleansing. Now, if by any chance you're working with selenite or any of the crystals listed and you feel as though there may be some energy that may be associated with it, negative energy, or maybe you just feel as though you feel as though it needs to be cleansed, you know, especially as you start to continue to work with crystals, it kind of just comes to you naturally. Initially, I don't want you to feel as though you'll automatically know these things. Eventually, as you continue to work, you'll start to feel and connect energetically with your crystals, whichever one you decide to work with. So please know that selenite will dissolve if it gets wet. You know, it can dissolve or fade, and you don't want that. So it doesn't require cleansing, but if by any chance you feel as though you do need to cleanse your crystals at any time, you can always do that. There's no harm, you know what I mean? So selenite, kyanite, and citrine are three crystals that never need cleansing. So as I told Sarah earlier, you know, your loved ones can touch your crystals, and um, you know, kids in the family can play with them. You don't have to necessarily grab them and panic and say, oh man, now I have to go, you know, cleanse it all over again. Those are the three of the crystals that you definitely don't have to worry about. And I did, go ahead, my dear.
Sorry, I have a question. This might be a dumb question, but how do you cleanse your crystals, and how do you know when they need to be cleansed?
I'm going to go into that right now.
Okay, sorry.
Question though, Jennifer. No, not at all. Not at all. All righty. Well, I'm just going to go into the textures and shapes real quick, and then we'll go into that. So you have several options. You know, it really is a personal preference. You have tumbled, you have pointed, raw, polished, spears, as I mentioned earlier, palm stone, which I showed you earlier with the selenite that I have. You have geodes as an option, crystal wands, and heart-shaped. It really is a personal preference, and it really depends on what it is that your goal is, what your intention is. So naturally, you know, people tend to go for the tumbled stones because they're smooth and they're tiny. They can travel with them. They can go with them as they travel and commute each day, and they're very discreet. Um, a lot of people like to have them in their pockets or close to their body. So tumbled works for many. Polish works for a lot of people as well because it's smooth and it feels nice, and it's usually shiny and prettier than raw. So it really depends on your personal preference. Jennifer, which one stands out the most to you? Like, do you see that you already have a personal preference?
I think like the palm stone or the spears, maybe.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. A lot of people love the heart shaped, you know, just because it's shaped as a heart, but it's really a personal preference. It doesn't matter which one you choose. And then a lot of people like raw crystals as well because they feel as though it's in its purest form, it's going to be most powerful. Any questions about crystal textures and shapes? No? Alrighty, moving along. Is there a difference? It is said that the structure of a crystal doesn't change the type of energy emitted, but it does affect the way you receive the energy. So, for example, cut and polished stones can enhance some of the properties and they're easier to use. Tumbled stones are inexpensive and easy to find, you know, and you'll always find like a great deal on tumbled stones, like sometimes 55 cents to $1, you know. So that's why they're most popular. They tend to be most popular. And it's a great intro into the crystal world. Crystal wands give more control in directing energy towards a specific direction with an intended purpose in mind. Crystal wands are usually, or I should say, typically used during sessions with a practitioner, for example. Spears, as you mentioned earlier, Jennifer, spears pulse out energy in all directions. So that particular crystal shape is great for meditation. Heart-shaped crystals represent all things associated with love, romance, and of the heart chakra as they radiate a strong love energy. So again, it's all about the intention. Was someone asking a question?
Sorry, that's my kids.
Not a problem. How to select your crystals? You can purchase your crystals directly from a seller, but not through a random search online. I wouldn't recommend that. You know, I had one client ask me if she can purchase crystals through wish.com. You know, it should be a reputable source. I would also suggest that you go with your gut. You know, choose the crystal that calls you. The one that is pretty or so shiny that you gravitate to the most is usually the one that you need. You know, and a lot of the times you won't even know why, but you just gravitate to it. Something about it, you don't know why. Can't explain it. And then when you dig a little deeper, do some research, it turns out that the benefits of that particular crystal are everything that you needed at that time. So you'd be surprised. It's not always just because it's aesthetically pleasing or it's just pretty. A lot of the times there's a deeper reason to why you gravitate there. Be sure to choose a crystal shape that pairs with your intention. Sometimes one crystal can offer more than one of the benefits you seek. And crystals, as I mentioned earlier, can also be programmed by simply stating the desired intention. You don't necessarily have to have a collection of 50 or more crystals. You can work with the ones that you have or keep it small and program. How to use your crystals. Excuse me. Once you purchase your crystal, it is important that you cleanse it first. And of course, with the exception of the three that I mentioned, which was selenite, kyanite, and citrine. Then familiarize yourself with its energy and its impact on your system. And I say this, not to complicate it, but just simply hold the crystal in your hand, whichever hand you use the most. Just hold it in your hand and meditate for 5 to 10 minutes. Focus on what you would like the stone to help you with and hold it in your receptive hand. If you use both hands frequently, spend some time sensing the energy in both hands and then determine which one you feel most comfortable with using. If you're uncertain which hand to hold your crystal with, but it's really all about connecting with it. After you cleanse it, and you cleanse it because everyone has touched it at that point, depending on where you got the crystal from. If it's a crystal store, you just don't know the energy that's already associated with it. So it's now yours. You're bringing it into your environment. And you're going to be working with it daily or occasionally. So it's just important that you cleanse it first and then connect with it. You can also place your crystals under your pillow, on your desk or your nightstand, as mentioned earlier. You can wear it directly on your body as jewelry. Bracelets are a popular option. Place it in your wallet, depending on the intention and property of the crystal. And you can also place it in your pocket. And there are some clients I know that place it in their bra. So it's really a personal preference. They feel that.
Can you, if you put Selenite in your purse, I heard that you're supposed to put a cloth over it of the way it is.
Yeah, it's a very fragile stone. I wouldn't recommend putting it in your pocketbook or your purse.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you do, definitely put it in a pouch
Put a
because it's
cloth.
very delicate.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very delicate. And I will also say this, a lot of people don't know that animals, especially cats, love selenite. So they tend to chew on it. So try not to leave your selenite wand around any pets. When you come back, you'll see, stuff on the floor, the ground. You're not gonna know what it was because it's gonna be in bits and pieces. They love it.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So do crystals absorb energy then?
Yes, they do. They definitely absorb the energy around them. That's why it's important to cleanse it.
So I have a question. When I do my Reiki, I put the stones underneath the table, and it's supposed to help them like release certain like emotions or anxiety and all that type of stuff.
Yes.
How does that work? Because I use it for every person I work on. So I try and cleanse it, or I think that I cleanse it, and then I use it on every person. I guess.
So okay. So I understand what's the question. Because I don't want to.
Yeah, I guess I'm asking, is it okay to use it on every person, like the same stones for every person and for each chakra?
Okay. You would definitely have to cleanse in between because the previous person's energy is still associated with the crystal.
Yeah,
now
that's what I do before.
Yeah, and I know that may make it a little more difficult for you because you have other things as you prepare for your client and you're getting yourself centered and all of that. I get it personally. So I would also suggest using the power symbol over the crystals. I don't know how you're currently cleansing, but you could definitely do that. You can sage, whatever is quickest, and you can also set that intention too, and just simply say to yourself, like, the intention is to clear these crystals of any negative energy or residual energy, and it's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be complicated. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm making it more complicated than it is.
Exactly, and we tend to do that, and I appreciate the fact that you are asking and you want to make sure you're doing it right because you don't want anyone else's or residual energy to be even in the room because you're cleansing and you're preparing the space and you still have the residual energy there regardless. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it
Thank you.
definitely absorbs its environment and what's going on around it. And a lot of the times, like for example, maybe you leave a crystal at work and something occurs in that room, maybe an argument. You know, the next day when you go to pick up that crystal, you may very well feel a difference in it. So yes, it definitely does pick up energy. Yeah, I know, Kathy, right? It's like, okay. Yeah. It vibrates. It has its own frequency, its own vibration, just like we do. Excuse me. All right. Moving along. Crystals and cleansing. You can run your crystals under or place it under running water. Lepidolite, you should avoid water along with selenite and hot water. You know, definitely don't place this obsidian under hot water. I just wanted to mention that. I know it gets tricky, you know, knowing which crystal to do what with, but you can really keep it simple. You know, out of this the entire list, just choose what's easiest for you. Don't complicate it. Some people actually bury their crystals in soil. I personally had someone give me shungite plates, and I just didn't like the energy that was associated with it. When I held it in my hand, I just didn't like it. So I immediately came home and I actually buried it in my backyard for 24 hours, and then I dug it up next day and or 24 hours later, and you know I could feel the shift. So then I started to use it personally. So it's really a personal preference. Sunlight. Sunlight's a big one. A lot of people just simply put their crystals out in the sun, you know, put it on their deck or by their window. But please keep in mind that citrine, amethyst, carnelian, rose quartz, and smoky quartz, and as well as aventurine, they tend to fade. So you wanna stay away from sunlight with those particular crystals. And you if you remember how citrine looks, you know it's that yellow. You know that yellow starts to fade away, and it just doesn't look the same. It's not as vibrant. So you want to avoid sunlight. Sage is a big one. Just simply, you know, burn the sage bundle and you can place the crystal above it or place it underneath the table that has it. It's really up to you, but that's a really easy way of cleansing your crystals. Some people submerge their crystals in salt. Carnelian does not like salt, just so you know. It's one of the stones that you wouldn't do that with. Brown rice. Some people use sound bowls to cleanse their crystals. Some people use a full moon or just moonlight in general to cleanse your crystals. But then it gets a little frustrating because you're like, oh man, you know, you just happen to look out the window and you realize that you didn't realize that it was going to be a full moon and you didn't get your crystals together and you get upset. Like I personally beat myself up every time I miss a full moon. I'm like, how come I didn't know? So I try to avoid it altogether. Cleansing visualizations, you know, just simply imagining the cleansing happening is enough too. It's really all about that intention. Set an intention for clearing energy, and you can also surround your crystals with plants. You know, that's a natural way of doing it as well. So I know the list is lengthy, but it's really a personal preference and whatever's easiest for you. You know.
Nadia?
Yes.
So if you use the salt or the brown rice immersion, do you then need to throw out the salt and the brown rice, or can you reuse them?
That's a great question, Kathy. No one's ever asked that. I'd recommend throwing it away. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, I would also recommend probably staying away from those two options because it just kind of it's like another chore, another thing to do. You know what I mean? And I want it to be encouraging. I want you to feel motivated to, you know, because you work with the crystal once and then it needs to be cleansed and then you end up putting it down and never using it again because you just don't feel like doing this routine. You know what I mean? So try and keep it as simple as possible if you can. But great question. Thank you, Kathy. Storing your crystals. Just like Sarah mentioned earlier, you know, certain crystals are very fragile, so it's very important that you store them individually to avoid scratches. I have amber here, and it got scratched up pretty bad. So you got to really be careful, you know, especially if you have it in the same container with other crystals. You should also protect amethyst, citrine, carnelian, aventurine, smoky quartz, and rose quartz from the sun because they will fade as well. And you can also place them on a display. Some people really get fancy with them and, you know, have wood um, wood shelves and you know even candle holders I've seen. So it's really a personal preference, but definitely if you're going to travel with them, excuse me, make sure that they're separated because they will disintegrate. I did have that happen. I was traveling, you know, I teach meditation classes at a yoga studio, so I was traveling with my crystals, and I had it in a box that was shifting, and I didn't realize it. And my pyrite was like almost non-existent when I opened up the box. You know what I mean? So just be mindful of that. They're gonna hit and knock against each other. Alrighty. Any questions or comments? Feedback? Hey, come on. Hi.
Do you have any theories on lost crystals or misplaced crystals?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that. They say that crystals disappear um, for a little bit of time, and they reappear when they're needed. There's a lot of theories to it, and I know a lot of people believe that once a crystal splits in half, for example, it's no longer workable. You should discard of it, or put it in a running stream, or return it to nature. All of that. Honestly, I'll say it's a personal preference. You'll kind of know, and you'll feel, especially in our field. You're intuitive. I'm sure you're picking up on things naturally. So
I
yeah,
lost one of my stones recently, and I just can't find it anywhere.
I
And
know.
I'm starting to think that a bird took it or a squirrel took it when I had it under the moon. Like, that's the only thing I could come up with, because I cannot find it anymore.
And what's funny, it will turn up. It's going to turn up again, because I had the same thing happen to me. I didn't know where it was. I was looking for it for months, and it wasn't until I was meant to find it that we were reunited. So you never know.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, friends. Our time is up.
Mm.
Please remember our third session is February 4th. It will be on chakras, and this session is recorded. So if you need to refresh something, go back to our library website and review it, or review the previous information we had on Reiki. If you have any questions, please contact me. My name is Magda. You can call the library or email me at mborn, BORN, at kckpl.org. And also, shameless plug, I also teach noon Wednesdays meditation over Zoom. So if you ever want to try it, couple of names here I recognize. Otherwise, have a great evening. Thank you so much for coming, and stay safe. Thank
Thank
you,
you, everyone.
Nadia.
Thanks.